New Broncos are one of the only 4x4s worth actually building that come with coilover struts at all four corners, which means the majority of your lift and suspension upgrade is just the shocks, which means choosing the right shocks is ever the more important. Sure. Whatever. You got Bowman, you got the shock surplus shop, so let's talk some shocks. What can make these Broncos a little trickier than a lot of other applications, even if you exclude the Raptors, there's 3 or technically 4 different suspension setups available from the factory, which not only makes a big difference with how much lift you can expect out of a set of coilovers or struts, but also what coilovers and struts are actually going to be an upgrade and not a downgrade for your particular application. We always say you got to know what you got before you can know what you can get. And if you want to know what you got, make sure to check out the previous episode in the series where we talk about all the factory suspension systems. We also go in on the additional modifications you might need on top of your coilovers and struts, as well as how to avoid doing the dumb stuff that I did with my Bronco so you end up with a better setup for less money. Today, as promised in the last episode, we're going to be actually talking shock and comparing options, but we're going to be focused on the entry-level stuff. When we say entry-level, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're cheap. It is more a tell of their intended purpose. All the shocks we're going to be talking about today are really optimized for street use, daily driving. It's going to be something that's going to make your commute suck a little bit less. Maybe it give you that better stance to crawl better at the mall, or it might be a good option for you guys looking to just get your feet wet in the off-road space, but not sure how serious you're going to get. Another thing we're going to be talking about here is going to be for ripping through the desert, smacking big bumps, having giant tires, but for a subtle upgrade for your daily driver, this video is for you. But just because it's a subtle upgrade for your daily driver doesn't mean this video is actually for you. And although I said check out the previous video to know what you got, to know what to get, let's just briefly talk about the different suspension options. If you got a Haas 1.0 with the Black Hitachi's, everything we talk about here is going to be a sizable upgrade. If you have the Haas 3.0, skip this video, skip the next video. As much as I'd love to have you listen to my silky voice and look at my beautiful face for the next 15 minutes, none of these shocks are going to even be on the level of your factory suspension. Haas 2.0 guys with the yellow Bilsteins though, you're going to really want to pay close attention. Some of these options might be a downgrade. Some of these options might be an upgrade. Some of these might be a lateral move with some sacrifices, some gains. And so you'll need to pay attention to see if those sacrifices are worth those gains. Got it? Let's get to the good stuff. The Bilstein 5100s are a perfect example of my previous point, being a huge upgrade for a Haas 1.0 equipped Bronco and potentially being more of a lateral move for a Haas 2.0 equipped Bronco. For those of you guys unaware of the Bilstein 5100s, which I'm sure they're not many of you, they're still probably the most popular thing Bilstein carries. They're the ubiquitous 2-inch body, ride height adjustable monotube strut. They give you a couple different grooves on the body to move the spring seat up or down to adjust ride height while still using the stock springs. We'll throw up the lift heights on the screen now so you guys can see what you get based on the different models and all the stuff like that. But you get a pretty strong range, and if you keep lift height somewhat conservative, well, you don't even have to change your control arms. Now, to give you an idea on how they stack up, let's kind of talk a little bit about the Haas 2.0 suspension, which is just so daggone harsh. Over smaller bumps, over washboard surfaces, they will rattle your dash and rattle your fillings out. And then over the bigger stuff, they will punch you right in the guts. I am of the belief that the in-stock control valve on compression engages a little too early and ultimately is a little bit too stiff with the factory bump stops, bucks the rear end in the air specifically. And when it doesn't, it feels like it's just rearranging your guts. But man, I have not been with a lot of factory suspension setups that can rip that hard at speed and take the bumps that it can take. It'll beat you up everywhere else, but when you want to party off-road, they definitely reward you for it. Alternatively, the 5100s are way more comfortable in those more mundane situations on the street, at lower speeds on the trail. They isolate washboard roads to being almost non-existent, but they have nowhere near the big bump support. And with the lack of a reservoir, they overheat fast, something I found out myself. I ate all of the bump stops on those almost initially, and they immediately went into fade, and well, just couldn't keep up because I was driving them thinking they would be like the stock Bilsteins. I really think, speaking of those stock Bilsteins, these 5100s should have been what Ford chose for these Broncos to be the factory suspension setup, because, brother, they are so much more comfortable than the ESCVs and still better than most other factory suspension systems off-road. But ultimately, I think this is going to be the choice a lot of you guys go with, because I don't think most people are going to be trying to find the high speed performance of the stock stuff, but would certainly like to be less miserable everywhere else. So if you have a Haas 1.0 or Haas 2.0 equipped Bronco, are definitely worth a look. But being a basic 2-inch body monotube, they have their limits. Like I said, I ate their bump stops immediately. And when I did that, I saw tons of witness marks from the stock Sasquatch 315s yeeting into my fenders, which tells me not only are you not going to be able to clear anything larger than the 35, I don't think these can handle it. After a couple bumps, the tires were leaving the ground for me and not staying planted. So these definitely aren't for flying through the desert. These definitely aren't for really big tires, but they are for a lot more comfort than stock. So I think they're a solid option for most entry-level consumers. Old Man Emu, as they always do, take a fairly holistic approach with their Nitrocharger lift systems, including not just the struts, but springs and some other nice-to-have things, which is why they're a good bit more money than the 5100, despite the Nitrocharger damper design not being quite as desirable as the monotube design on the 5100s. Now, as you can probably guess, these are a twin tube type shock, similar to the Haas 1.0s, which means piston size is definitely limited. Shocks are a hydraulic system. The bigger the piston, the more damping force potential they have, and well, the less they have to restrict flow through the shock to give you the control you need. Because of this, I don't think I would necessarily recommend them on a Haas 2.0 equipped Bronco. I think you'll be a net neutral for comfort and loss in the support department. But on a Haas 1.0 equipped model, this is going to be a great upgrade. Because they come with springs, they have tons of different rates for tons of different weight loads. So if you have a base model Bronco that you've added a bunch of weight and overlanding gear and other stuff, and you need to rectify all the sag you had, get a little bit more clearance, and a suspension system that will survive off-road and not blow up with all that extra weight, they're a really solid option. The one thing I will say, though, is you are getting so close in price to some of the higher end models, like some of the more intermediate level stuff like Bilstein 6112s and Eibach Stage 2 kit, a lot of other stuff that in my opinion perform and ride a lot better. So these might be a condition where you save a few bit more pennies and buy once and cry once on something a little bit nicer, and I think you'll be a lot happier. Eibach, like they do for pretty much everything else they sell shocks for, has a stage 1 kit for these Broncos, but unlike most other things, this is only going to be applicable for your base model, you Haas 1.0 equipped guys. So you Wild Track, you Sasquatch, you Badlands guys, look away because these aren't for you. In terms of design, you can think of the Pro-Truck Sports that they use as a twin for the 5100s, 2-inch body, circlip ride height adjustable, even zinc plated as well. But they're similar to the OMEs where they come with their own springs. Eibach is a spring company first, so makes sense. You still have the ride height adjustment like you would with the Bilsteins, but you're capable of a little bit more lift as well as having an extra setting to offset additional constant load as you add it. So if you get set up and then you eventually add a bumper, winch, skid plates, you name it, you will have a solution to at least retain the same amount of lift height you had to begin with. Once again, though, I think these operate in a very similar space as the OMEs. You are getting so far up there in price, you're getting close to some of their higher performing options out there where you might be better off buying once and crying once on one of those better kits. One of those options that might be a little bit more worth your time, even though they cost a little bit more money, are their Stage 2 kits, which use their 2.0 coilovers. One, by being able to have complete control over the strut body design, the spring, and everything like that, they can be optimized for a lot more travel. They also have threaded bodies, so you have infinite ride height adjustment within their set range. Those coilovers also use flat ground, universal style springs, front and rear. So at least in the front, you have almost any spring rate option you could dream of to put on there. They even sell heavy duty options for the front and the rear, or kits that already have those springs on it. So they make it a super nice option. Of everything we've tested, of all price points on these Broncos, I think these actually ride the softest and are the cushiest for sure. If you're looking for a more Cadillac-like feel out of your Bronco, these are the way to go. Obviously, as long as you're not wheeling it hard. They are still a 2-inch body, so they still have their limits. But despite that, and despite not being position sensitive like the stock Haas 2.0s are, their extra travel does mean there are some areas where they'll even outperform at higher speeds, and of course be more comfortable everywhere else. And of course, anything's better than the Haas 1.0, so y'all don't got to worry about that. If I had one complaint, it is almost that they're too soft or too underdamped. Now, I had a 2-door with a Sasquatch package, which I think is the worst combination for these coilovers. The shorter wheelbase means changes in body motions happen more dramatically and happen a lot more quickly. And I didn't have a rear sway bar, which really exacerbated the issues. The rear end of these really is loose. They're really wiggly. They got a lot of roll. They got a lot of yaw. They require a lot of effort to keep going straight on the freeway. I don't know if this would be as much of an issue on a 4-door, and I certainly believe it would be a lot better with a rear sway bar. So if you have a Bronco like mine, or 2 or 4-door really, that did not come with a factory rear sway bar, I definitely would consider throwing on a factory one or an aftermarket one. And if you're doing really anything over an inch or inch and a half over stock Sasquatch height, these are one of those shocks that you absolutely need to relocate the shock bar for to get the shock bar geometry more dialed in, because they simply don't have the damping force to make up for bad geometry like some of the higher end kits do. They also, despite being more money and having more travel and capable of more lift height, aren't going to be any happier with larger than a 35-inch tire than anything else here. I ran these with a 37 by 13.5, and going down the freeway, the tires dribbled so much that there are oftentimes I'd be getting onto an on-ramp or an interchange or something like that where the steering went light because the tires weren't on the ground, and generally were just hard to keep in a lane. So if you're going to run these, keep them to a 35-inch tall tire or less, or at the very least, make sure each corner of your wheel and tire package is under about 100 pounds. And I think you'll have a much better time with these than I did. But all the shocks we talk about today are just the tip of the iceberg for these Broncos. And, well, if you're a more serious enthusiast, you're going to need more than these. The good news is we got a lot more episodes coming soon. And next time, we're going to be talking about the more intermediate options, which I think are going to be the sweet spot for the majority of buyers. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe and the bell icon so you stay up to date on this Bronco series and all the other fun stuff we're getting into. Otherwise, if you're interested in suspension or anything else for your Bronco, or whatever else you're whipping, shocksurplus.com is your one-stop shop. And in the meantime, we'll see you out on the trails. God bless Hostel Barbacena.